So hey guys, today I got this performance chip in the mail, which I had originally ordered for that red 924S. Right after I ordered it, the company told me that their chip burner was down and it was going to be a while for it to come in. So the owner actually kind of lost interest in this and told me to cancel the order, but I was kind of interested in it, so I went ahead and just gave him his money back and just waited until it came in. So I have it here now, and I'll go ahead and get it out and show you guys. So this is a 24-pin chip, and of course my daily driver is an 88 with a 28-pin, so I can't install it in there, but I do have this spare 87 DME here with the 24-pin, and I'm going to install it in here. And I've chosen this DME since it's already been opened up before. This came out of that red 924S, and what I did was I just gave him another DME out of another 924S that was untampered with, and I took this one because, you know, I don't want to really open them up if they've never been opened before. So someone's been in here already, so I'll put the chip in this one and we'll try it in my 88. Should plug right in, start right up, and according to the paperwork that's with it, it's supposed to give me 5 extra horsepower and 5 extra foot-pounds of torque for my car anyway, and it's supposed to be even more for earlier models. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and put on some gloves. Now, you don't have to wear gloves, but I want to reduce the risk of static electricity as much as possible. Alright, the first thing you're going to do is take a flathead screwdriver and pry these tabs back out of the way. There's 9 of them, and once you have them pulled back, then you'll be able to remove the top cover like this. Then you can just lay that to the side. And so far, this looks pretty good. Doesn't look like anyone's been in here tampering. Maybe they just took the cover off and had a look. But you're going to see this here, and what you're going to do is gently pop this up here. Grabbed onto my glove, and then pop this side up as well. You can do it something like that. Then you're going to have 2 tabs here holding the board, and you'll just gently push down on them with your screwdriver. Be very gentle. You do not want to scratch any of these traces here. And once you have that done, you can just bend this back like that, and here you're going to see your chip. So once you have access to your chip, next you're going to be removing it, and you want to very carefully stick a screwdriver underneath here and just pry on the little black base that's under the chip, just ever so gently, and it should just come up very easily like that there. Then you want to pay attention to this little tab that's in the chip here, because when you put the new one in, you need to make sure that it faces the same direction. So let me set this to the side for now. Here's the new chip. And again, I'm going to make sure that this tab here is facing the correct direction. And then you're just going to go ahead and insert it into the board. Now make sure that you get all the little legs lined up with their holes before trying to force anything, because you can bend them very easily, very easily. This side looks good, this side looks good too, but I can't seem to get them both going at the same time. Just want to kind of take your time here. There we go. Gotta make sure both sides go in at the same time. I'm going to take the box, put this chip in there just like that. And it's just that easy. So, pick this up and let you guys see it. I now have the performance chip installed. And that's it. So, next I'm going to go ahead and lay this back down. And then you're going to push it forward just a bit. Let these clips right here hold. And then you're going to snap it back into back here. Once you have everything inserted here and you're ready to put your cover back on, just like that. And all they did was push this down here and then push this one down, and it seemed to hold. So that's all I'm going to do for right now. Alright guys, I got this back together last night and I just figured I'd save it for today. It's much nicer out, and by the time I got it together it was already dark. So anyway, I was thinking overnight that I may not feel a huge difference between this DME with this chip and my 88, since there's only about 5 horsepower difference. So I thought I would take another 87 DME that I have. This one is bone stock, other than it being repaired by Specialized ECU, and try this one and this one back to back to try and get a feel for it, since I don't really have a dyno to base anything off of. So alright guys, I've got 3 DMEs here. You can see this one under the dash there. This one is the stock 28 pin that's in my 88 924S, and then I have a stock 24 pin here that came out of an 87. And then of course this one has the performance chip in it. So what I thought I would do is just go ahead and plug this one in, since I drive this car every day and I already have a pretty good sense of how the car feels. If I don't really feel a difference, then I may try them back to back, but for now I just thought I'd go ahead, drive with this DME and get the engine oil warmed up, and then we would try and plug this one in and see if I can feel any difference between them. So alright, I have the stock 87 DME plugged in now, and I'm just going to set it over to the side like this. You can see how I have it plugged in here. And then I'll take this one with the performance chip and just set it aside for now. I'll go ahead and start the car up. I'll take it around the block now, get the engine oil warmed up before we start beating on it. And we'll see if we can tell any difference between these two chips. Alright guys, I'm driving around with the stock 87 DME right now, and I've got the engine oil up to temperature, and just by driving it this far and just judging it on the fact that I drive this car every day, I can tell that this car just doesn't have the punch it normally does. I mean, it's very subtle and you don't really notice it when you're just driving around, but when I get on it, it just doesn't have the punch it normally has. So what I'll do is I'll go down here a little bit further and we'll swap out these DMEs and we'll see if we can notice any difference. Now, I realize that this isn't very scientific, but you know, if you're going to buy a performance chip and you're going to spend that money, sure, a dyno sheet is nice, but where you really want the power to show up is in the feeling and in the emotion. I mean, if you buy a chip, sure, it says 5 extra horsepower on paper, but if you don't feel it, then it's not worth the money, in my opinion. I want to feel the power. I want to know that it's there. So this is sort of what this is about here. It's, again, not meant to be scientific. It's just meant to sort of be fun and see if it's worth the money, you know. But you can see there, I just went down to 3rd gear. No, it's slower than it usually is, much slower. Usually once I get above 4,000 RPMs, the tachometer just takes off. Sorry guys, I'm going to go ahead and pull over here and swap these DMEs out. I drove this car for about 10 miles and got a pretty good feel for it. So hopefully now I'll be able to tell the difference between the two. So I'll go ahead and unplug this one here. And then swap in this one here. All right, I now have the DME with the performance chip plugged in. So let's see what this one's like. So again, this isn't meant to be scientific or anything. I'm just trying to see if I can feel a difference between these two chips. And at the end of the day, you know, you can have a dyno sheet that has numbers on it, but is it really worth the money if you can't really feel the difference? Because to me, that's what it's all about. I want to really feel that power. And so far, just driving around, it feels pretty much the same. But once you get above 3,500 RPMs, then it starts to feel just like my 88 DME. Not really much different there. Now, there is something to be said here, and that is that this chip can rev to 7,000 RPMs. That in and of itself is pretty interesting to me, since sometimes I'm just trying to get over in traffic and I bounce off the rev limiter. That slows you down. You have to shift up. So that would give you a little bit more room to not have to make any errors. Not to mention that theoretically, I can do 60 miles an hour in second gear now. So I might have to give that a try. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I have to stop at this stop sign here. As I'm leaving it, I'm going to attempt to hit 60 miles an hour in second gear. Yep. Well over 60 miles an hour. Not bad. Feel the power die off right above 6,500 RPMs though. So alright guys, let's quick look at this performance chip. If you're looking for something that's going to give you a little bit more pep in day-to-day driving, then this probably isn't it. I felt a little more pep with those gimmicky throttle cams than anything else. I actually installed the throttle cam on an early 944 and it felt pretty good, but when I put the one on this one, it just made the throttle feel sticky and there wasn't really much improvement at anything at all. So it might be just the difference between the early and late cars. Maybe they changed the spring rate or something on the throttle. But anyway, I would look at one of those, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. But that said, this chip does seem to wake the engine up above 4,000 RPMs, and it feels pretty good. I'll say that it is peppier there than it is with my stock chip. So overall, you will be gaining real power with this chip, unlike the throttle cam, where you're just kind of making it feel that way. But I don't know at $150 if it's really worth the extra price. I've already bought it, so I might as well use it. So that's the way I've got to look at it. But the compelling thing to me isn't really the power. It's that 7,000 RPM red line, because to me that just makes the engine just a little more usable. Even though I can severely feel the power drop off above 6,500, it just seems to make it more usable to me. I can maybe beat someone to that light a little easier. I don't have to shift into third. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and come join us on Facebook. I'll put a link in the description below, and I also want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. These videos wouldn't be possible without you. And anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Alright guys, I got back to the shop and I was just thinking about that throttle cam, and I still have it, so I thought I would just go ahead and and see what it's like driving with both the throttle cam and the chip. All right, let's go give this a try. So, all right guys, I thought I'd do a very quick combination of the throttle cam and the performance chip. I have not driven with this throttle cam since I made that video, and again, it feels kind of sticky.